I just wanna see, I just wanna see the light. I just wanna see, I just wanna see the light. I just wanna see, I just wanna see the light. I just wanna see the light.
What's up, guys? We're here in the 328i, and today we'll be installing a new 7-inch Bluetooth touchscreen stereo in place of the factory stereo. This is going to involve moving the climate control into the new custom bezel that comes with the stereo. And as you can see, I've already moved my seat warmer buttons down here from the climate control into a new custom ashtray. This is all to make room for the new display that's going to be going here. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a flathead screwdriver or pry tool, whatever you want, and you're just going to come in here on the side of the climate control bezel, and you're going to have to work around a little to find the right location. There we go, down towards the bottom. Same thing on the other side. Get it loose, pull out of here. Now you have two wiring harnesses you have to disconnect, like so. Get those guys disconnected. Now we're going to remove the climate control from this bezel. Come to the back here, use a screwdriver or pry tool and lift up this tab right here. You're going to put your screwdriver under there, lift it up, and you're going to push the bezel forward. So we got that one out, and there are a couple more all the way around. So there you go, you got your climate control out of the bezel. We will no longer need this, so we can set it aside. Set your climate control aside for now. To remove the stock stereo, you're going to remove two torx screws underneath on either side, and then after doing so, you can pull the stereo right out. Careful not to damage any wires. And first you're going to want to disconnect the wiring harness over here. So pull this latch back, push it back, and the whole thing comes out. And then you have one more wire here. So push in on this tab, and it comes off. And there you got your stock stereo. So we'll set it aside for now. Now we're going to remove this stock stereo frame here, and that's going to be done with a T15 torx bit. After removing the 4 torx screws, we need to remove these 2 bolts here, which are 8mm. After removing these screws and 2 bolts, the frame should come out pretty easily. Set this aside for now. Now it's time to install our new stereo. I got the EONON GA6165 7-inch touchscreen stereo, and what's great is it comes with a bezel specially made for the E93 series. It's a complete kit that comes with everything you need, and I highly recommend it. Here's our wiring harness and CAN bus module. So we'll start off by installing our pre-wired wiring harness. Put that in, it's all ready to go. Now I'll plug in our CAN bus decoder, which will allow us to use our factory steering wheel functions and whatnot. As you can see, it's coded for the BMW E90. So here's our GPS antenna. We're going to run it under the dash and tie it over under the A-pillar here. We will be removing this A-pillar here, and to do so we will remove this airbag cover using a flathead screwdriver or pry tool, and underneath this cover will be a screw. After removing this, we can remove the A-pillar. This will be a T15 Torx bit to remove this screw here. Now we'll be removing the side of the dash here using a pry tool. Now to get this GPS antenna wire over to our stereo, we're going to need to thread a piece of wire or something that can thread through the dash from the stereo location over to this side location. Then we can tape our GPS antenna wire to this wire, and we can pull it through over to our stereo location. Okay, I've got this piece of wire threaded through from the side dash over to my stereo location, and I can now tape my GPS antenna wire to this wire and pull it through over to the dash. I pulled my GPS antenna over to the stereo location, and I pulled all the excess wire through the dash. I carefully routed my GPS wire up behind the airbag, and I just tucked the GPS antenna up here behind the airbag, and I'm going to reinstall the A-pillar. Now our A-pillar is reinstalled and our GPS antenna is tucked away up here behind the A-pillar cover. Now I'll be repeating the same process on the left A-pillar, except I'll be installing a microphone for hands-free calling. Instead of leaving the mic in the A-pillar, I'm going to be feeding it through the A-pillar and up to this vent here. I should get better sound quality on calls through this vent than simply through the A-pillar. Hey guys, so I was unable to route the mic cable through the dash because of the steering wheel and instrument cluster. So instead of doing that, I came down here and removed the lower dash cover, and it actually provided a really easy access point to bring the mic cable right through under the dash, and I'm going to route it out through this hole as I did on the other side, and I'll bring the mic up the A-pillar and over to this vent over here. I removed this little roof console here with the lights and sunroof controller, and now I can pull my microphone up from the A-pillar and through the headliner and into this area here where I'll secure the mic. Alright, so I got my microphone wire routed up the A-pillar through the headliner, comes out here through this hole. There's my mic sitting right there in the roof console. Now I have to reinstall this, and I'll be all done with my mic installation. Now, in order to get our climate control to fit properly, we will need to do some slight trimming to this edge right here, and a little bit right here. This can be achieved with some cutting pliers as well as a file. So as you can see, This side is yet to be trimmed and filed down. This side has been filed down and trimmed, and it's a nice clean edge. After installing the climate control brackets onto your stereo, you can take the climate control and snap it into place. Now we can take our climate control bezel and slide the top into place under the stereo bezel. And then there are two clips, one over here and then one here, which pop into place. Now your climate control is connected to your stereo. After reinstalling your climate control attached to your stereo, it's now time to wire in our stereo. The only two other wiring harnesses I'll be using is this RCA aux wiring harness and the antenna wiring harness. I won't be installing a USB auxiliary input because I'll primarily be using the Bluetooth audio feature on the stereo. First, I'll take the two RCA cables and I will put them into the aux left and right, which are auxiliary in. So we'll put the red one to red, and then auxiliary in left, white to white. I don't need to do any of these because we already have our speakers wired in via the wiring harness, so we won't need to do any wiring with these female RCA cables. Next, we can wire in the antenna adapter. So simply connect it like this, and then we can connect the two blue antenna wires like so, and we can plug the antenna into the stereo. Now the antenna is all set. That's for your music. This is the GPS antenna, and it goes in on the left side. So like this, screw it on, and load it. Okay. Get nice and snug. Now we have the GPS antenna hooked up. And lastly, we will need to hook up our microphone. So our microphone coming in from the dash plugs into the 3.5mm jack labeled mic. And then last but not least, our wiring harness gets plugged in to the stereo like so. And that's all the wiring you need to do to the stereo. Now, two last things we have to wire in are the two climate control wires. One thing I forgot to mention is plugging in the RCA auxiliary cable. This plugs in like so. We're just going to tuck these wires back inside. I'm not taping or heat shrinking anything quite just yet because I want to ensure everything's working properly before finalizing the install. Now we can tuck all of our stereo wires back in, and now we need to reinstall our climate control wires. One and two. So now all of our wiring is complete, and we can tuck it in here. I'm not going to screw it into the dash quite just yet. I want to turn it on and make sure everything's functioning properly. So I'm just going to get it loosely fit here, and we're going to give the car power, putting the key in the ignition like so. Look at that, we have power. As you can see, the system has just booted up for the first time. I'm going to go ahead and test the radio feature. The one last thing we have to do is pop out, if you just take a screw, go from behind, pop out the little covers, screw covers on each side. And now we're gonna put it back into the dash. Grab a Phillips head and we'll screw it in. Make sure it's nice and snug. Do the left side. Now we'll take our little screw covers, put them in each side. And our EONON GA6165 installation is complete.